anywhere or like pulled up anywhere?
I can pull it up. Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
If you want to just like
We're
put it
live
on
now.
Oh, hi, hello.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
I can do that in a sec. I am going to tweet. I have tweeted us. And then I should probably retweet us.
I guess. Let me get the chat out.
Let's see. BLHQ podcast. Retweet.
Chat, go here.
We're about
Hello,
to
Kate
start.
Payne.
Oh my god, Kate Payne, our favorite.
Chat. Yes. I love all your comments. I love all of them.
Jenny Belly.
Hello, Tangurius. Y'all are so fast.
Okay.
Y'all have that notification bell on.
Oh, thank God. Thank you. Please. Yes. I love you guys. All right, cool. I tweeted about us.
All the things.
Then I have to open up our docs. Docs.
Yeah.
Docs.
Okay, let me move these windows over here.
Even though it's only been like a week and a half, it feels like a while since our last time. For some
I
reason.
know. I just had like the longest week of my life. Hello, George.
All right, guys, how is Jenny's volume? Is it low? Is it normal? We've been having a lot of issues with her audio.
We need it to be on the same level as Stella's volume. So like, not just like how if I'm like audible, just make sure it's like the same loudness level as Stella's loudness level.
And if it's like, I hope it's not clipping. That's the other thing that we're worried about, if it's clipping or not. So just talk.
Blah. Hello, everyone. Kate Payne says, yes, I'm ready. Hell yeah, I'm so excited. Right now it's normal, says Kate. Okay, cool.
And it's not clipping or
Tanguria
anything?
says,
Volume's perfect?
Podcast hands down. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Maybe whatever you did on your end helped.
Shrug, and we'll find out if it's gonna be okay on YouTube later when the VOD's up.
Yeah, we'll find out in an hour.
Okay, I'm gonna start the recording.
Yeah. Okay.
Guys, I'm so excited. We are on episode 33 now. Wow, we're well over like what? How many weeks are in a year? 52. That's like more 52. Than half a year.
You're like halfway through a year of podcasting. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's intense. And
awesome.
I think we're just gonna finish the whole thing by like episode 52 if you think about it, because we're already over halfway with the book.
Yeah,
we're over halfway of the year, so there's a good chance that we're gonna actually everything's gonna align perfectly. So
that'd be so dope.
Yeah.
We should do something fun for the 50th though. That'd be kind of cool.
I agree. I want to do something fun for the 20th. I think we got that fan art that we commissioned, but otherwise like we don't really have good plans. I don't know what to do.
We did like a fun bonus episode in Korea. Kind of. Yeah,
and I love doing bonus episodes so much. I want to talk about so many things all of the time.
I agree. Totally.
We've come a long
way. We'll plan
way.
more of those out.
Yes. All right, so let's just start the episode, I guess.
Okay, go for it.
Welcome to BLHQ. I'm Stella Chu.
And I'm Jenny Belly.
This is our weekly podcast breaking down the danmei web novel Heaven Official's Blessing, written by MXTX. We deep dive a few chapters at a time and discuss themes, cultural backgrounds, and our overall reactions. Spoilers abound and screaming will be had, so you have been warned.
In a recap of last week's episode, we find out the backstory of Yin Yu and Kuan Zhen. Yin Yu's subordinate tricked Kuan Zhen into wearing the brocade immortal, which caused Yin Yu to accidentally order Kuan Zhen to kill heavenly officials and then kill himself. Jin Wu stops Kuan Zhen before he can cut off his own head. Yin Yu immediately gets a terrible reputation, and nothing he says will make him innocent in the eyes of others. He accepts his banishment and becomes Hua Cheng's assistant. Back in present time, Hua Cheng and Xie Lian are still stuck inside the mountain spirit, and they suddenly hear the voice of Xie Lian's guoshi from Shanle on the other side of the wall.
Now we're on chapter 163, Riddle of the Mysterious Guoshi Confounding Minds. Xie Lian whispers to Hua Cheng, "Sanlang, don't move. The voice out there sounds a lot like my master. Let's not be discovered." Hua Cheng hugs his waist and says, "All right, you don't move either." The walls press close against them, forcing their bodies together, their faces touching. Suddenly, Xie Lian thinks, "To die buried together, Doesn't feel so bad. Just then, the guoshi says again, what about the other two? Where have they run off to? Who is he talking about? Also, who is this? Who is the guoshi having a conversation with? And how come they can't hear their voice? And the guoshi then says, thank them for their efforts, but there's no need to worry about the small fries anymore. Nothing will come of them. We've got more important things to do right now.
Xie Lian wonders what's going on. Next, the guoshi says, is that all the people inside the mountain? In any case, let's bring them all to the kiln first. I'll think of a way to take care of them one by one then. The faster, the better. They must get there within 2 days' time. After a pause, he then says, call the other two over. Let's go to the kiln together. In order to face His Highness, the Crown Prince, not a single one of us should be missing. Right now, he's still not yet awakened. If he should wake, it's hard to imagine what he will do this time. Xie Lian is shocked. Is he talking about him?
Right then, there's an explosion inside the mountain. Xie Lian asks Hua Cheng, what's going on? Hua Cheng presses their foreheads together again, and in Xie Lian's right eye, he sees Yin Yu and Kuan Yizhen on the other side of the cave. Yin Yu has dug Kuan Yizhen out and is dragging him along, when suddenly Kuan Yizhen wakes up and jumps to his feet, taking the mask off of Yin Yu's face. It turns out Kuan Yizhen only pretended to faint earlier. He had already recognized Yin Yu from his speech and movement patterns, so he deceived him by pretending. Although this level of deception is very basic and simple, no one would have expected it from Kuan Yizhen of all people to do such a thing. So Yin Yu was caught off guard, and his pale face is revealed when the mask is removed.
Like, it's just pretending to be asleep, but like everyone thinks Kuan Yizhen is too stupid to even do that.
That he would never even lie or trick anybody.
I know. Kuan Yizhen is thrilled and jumps up with his head covered in blood. Xishang! Yin Yu looks horrified and covers his face. You've got the wrong person. Then he runs, throwing blasts towards Kuan Yizhen. Don't come near me! Don't follow me! Kuan Yizhen runs after him, ignoring the blast, saying, Xishang, it's me! Yin Yu loses it, saying, God damn it, it's because it's you that I'm terrified. Don't follow me! The two of them run and fight, causing the entire mountain to shake. The guoshi is confused and says, what's going on over there? What's all that noise? Though there is no voice in response, the guoshi then replies, I see. Kids these days, so energetic. I'll take my leave first. Let's get together again once you're close to the kiln.
Hua Cheng covers Xie Lian's ears and blasts the cave walls surrounding them apart. The two of them leap out together and finally breathe in fresh air. But when Xie Lian looks for the guoshi, there's no one there. At that moment, Yin Yu runs towards them madly, waving the Earthmaster shovel. Chenzu, Your Highness, behind him is Kuan Yizhen, and words. It happens every time we trip over ourselves.
Exactly, especially in the beginning.
Chenzu, Your Highness! Behind him, Kuan Yizhen is also running, covered in blood from all the blows. Hua Cheng casually flicks his hand and there's another explosion. Kuan Yizhen is instantly turned into a dorama doll with big, wide eyes, looking very innocent. Yin Yu finally calms down and says, I'm eternally grateful, Chenzu. Hua Cheng says, did you really have to be so scared? Yin Yu replies bitterly, truth be told, right now when I see His Highness Qi Ying, I only want to run as far away as possible.
It seems that Kuan Yizhen's personality has become a severe shadow in Yin Yu's heart. He's basically just traumatized anytime he sees him. Xie Lian sympathizes with Yin Yu, but also feels pity towards Kuan Yizhen. He is about to pick up the wide-eyed Daruma doll when suddenly there is an earthquake. Hua Cheng holds Xie Lian's arm to steady him and tells Yin Yu to open up a tunnel outside to see what's going on. Yin Yu recovers quickly and responds, yes, sir. He digs a tunnel to the outside of the mountain and reports that the mountain spirit is actually running. Xie Lian and Hua Cheng follow him outside, and sure enough, the landscape is rushing past as the mountain itself runs across the earth. Yin Yu says at this speed, it'll take 2 days to reach the kiln. Hearing this, Xie Lian finally understands. The guoshi wasn't talking to a person. He was talking to the mountain spirit itself. He told the mountain spirit to bring them all to the kiln in 2 days.
I have a question. How come they're not flying on their swords?
They don't. Well, only Xie Lian has a sword.
But, like in general. I feel like everyone
It's still a really long So the way that they explained it, it's not that close. Like flying with a sword would have still taken like weeks. And also they're supposed to
Mm,
be disguised and they're not supposed to be showing that they're heavenly officials or have spiritual power.
okay.
So if literally all these demons saw a god flying across the sky, I think they would like attack them and they'd be
Yeah,
targets.
I guess so. It's just one of those situations where it's just like, Gandalf, why didn't you just use the eagles and fly them to Mordor?
Right, right, yeah. Well, also they're supposed to try and find the strong. Like their goal isn't just to go to the kiln. They're supposed to like find the strongest ghosts and
Yeah,
prevent them from going to the kiln. So I'm sure like traversing this way is better for that plan. I don't know.
makes sense, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Watson says that is fine. They don't need to walk the rest of the way. Once they're at the kiln, they can find the guoshi and figure out what's going on. Xie Lian is worried about what the guoshi said. What did he mean by right now he still has not awakened? If he should wake, it's hard to imagine what he'll do this time. Like, who was he talking about? Was he talking about Xie Lian? Watson assures him, Guga, don't think too much right now. First, that man might not be your master. Second, the crown prince he spoke of might not be you. Xie Lian is still worried and shares his theories with Hua Cheng. The three mountains are old age, sickness, and death, and the guoshi is able to communicate with them. Perhaps these three mountains used to be humans like the guoshi and somehow became spirits.
Xie Lian continues to say that Mount Tonglu was part of Wuyong Kingdom. The crown prince of Wuyong had four guardians. Similarly, Xie Lian had four guoshis growing up in Shanle. It's actually strange for a country to have that many guoshis. There's usually only one. Is this all a coincidence or is there some deeper meaning? Did the four guardians of Wuyong come to Shanle to become Xie Lian's guoshis? Xie Lian speaks as if possessed. Why did they come to teach me? Is there something about me that I myself wasn't aware of? Could it be that I'm actually. Hua Cheng grips his shoulders and says with conviction, It's not possible. I can swear, you are you. You're not anyone else. Trust me. Don't read too much into things and imagine what's not there.
Xie Lian had treated the guoshi like a parent and was very close to him. He's shocked that he didn't know him as well as he thought he did. Watson softens his voice and says, All right, Guga, think back carefully. What was the guoshi of Shenle's background? Xie Lian says he's not sure. The guoshi became the guoshi before Xie Lian was born. His name was Mei Nianqing, but that might have been a fake name. Xie Lian has always wondered why the guoshi never ascended to become a heavenly official. Watson says, We'll take care of things as they come. Remember that if anything should happen, I'm here. I will always be on your side. Xie Lian stares at him stunned and speechless because he's flirting again.
Yes, I love it.
After a moment, a small smile appears on his face.
Yin Yu's presence is so faint that he was basically forgotten. He finally speaks up from the side. Chengzu, do we need to go find the others? Xie Lian quickly replies, Yes, let's go find them together. Please wait, Your Highness Yin Yu. Yin Yu insists that Xie Lian not call him Your Highness, since he's no longer a heavenly official. Xie Lian responds that Yin Yu should call him by his name as well. Yin Yu glances at Hua Cheng and quickly replies, I daren't, I shouldn't, I can't. Xie Lian replies, What's the concern? Then takes a few steps to pick up the Kuani Zen Daruma doll. But just then, a figure suddenly drops from the sky and falls heavenly before them, the sound of bones cracking in the air. Ah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
So,
a
lots
lot
going on.
going on. I mean, they're
Yes.
still talking about the Guoshi at least, and we're getting a little bit more into it.
Yes.
Kuani Zen and Yin Yu having more development. Just
Kuani Zen just wants him to pay attention to him, and Yin Yu was like, leave me the fuck alone, you traumatized me for life. Like, I feel so bad for Yin Yu.
yeah, and Kuani Zen just covered in blood, being like, "Come over here! I've been looking for you,
Love
Shishong."
me. I've missed you. I've been looking for you for years.
I
Oh my gosh. She's
know.
just like ignoring it, like getting all beat up and still running after him. Like, one track mind. I love him.
Yeah, I would love to hear
and-
what you guys. Oh,
Yes.
I
No,
would
go
love
ahead.
to hear what you guys think about Xie Lian's like dilemma when he was just like, "Who am I? Why did I have four guoshi? Like, am I special? Am I something?"
Yes.
And then
Yes.
Huasen being
And-
like, "No, you're not."
it's just you're fine. Don't overthink it. Like he's worried because like at this moment, Xie Lian is like spiraling into like a pit of despair, and he's like wondering like is he some sort of like weird reincarnation, or is he like secretly the crown prince of Wuyong and he was like has to be awakened because the guoshi had mentioned that the crown prince has to be awakened. So
Mm-hmm.
there's like a lot going on, and there's a lot of coincidences that show the similarity of Xie Lian and then the crown prince of Wuyang. So it's like,
Yeah.
why?
A
What's
lot of
what's happening right now?
coincidences. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All
Really
right, so
good.
let's check out chat. Let's see. Xie Lian was buried alive once before, and now he's
Ugh,
thinking it wouldn't be so bad to be buried alive with Hua Cheng.
that's a very good point, Kate Payne. Yeah, he was buried alive multiple times, and it was traumatizing all the times. But now he doesn't mind because he's not alone. For once, he's with someone, and it's fine.
Sad, sad, sad. Poor,
Yeah.
poor Xie Lian.
I know, right?
Yeah. And the question about the swords and the book. Yeah, because like they do fly on their swords during the
They do fly on
Blackwater
their swords in the
arc.
yeah, yeah. They were floating around the ocean too, and the shovel. They were flying on top of a shovel, to avoid drowning.
Uh-huh.
But I really think it's because if they were literally like they were supposed to be there like incognito, and if they out themselves flying across the sky, that all the demons would attack them. And they also in this area they have less spiritual power than they
Yeah.
did in the Blackwater area. So all of their spiritual powers are like muffled, except for Hua Cheng, who is like already a ghost, so he's fine.
Yeah, and his powers have been unlocked right now, so he
Yeah,
could just
yeah.
also
I like
what's to
honestly,
say
I don't
there.
even know if they have enough spiritual power to fly because
Okay.
of the muffling.
Sure.
Yeah,
But also, what's to say there isn't an invisibility charm? I've read plenty of fan fiction that
that's
says
true.
there is.
Yeah. Yeah, they just had to like literally when Shelion entered the first arena area, he just like disguised himself with a cloak, and he was like, "This is good enough. This cloak is fine." Yeah,
Let's see. They don't need flying swords. I'll let them flirt more if they take their time.
yes,
It's for plot.
this is scenic route for flirting.
Yes. Oh
It's
man.
fine.
Yeah, Watson being extra as always. This is the idea of a
So
pleasant
extra.
date.
Yeah, he's so cute. I love him. He's always like calm and collected too. Like I love how like calm he is when everyone else is like being all chaotic and afraid.
All right, moving on to the next chapter, chapter 164. The man who fell is General Pei Ming. He quickly jumps to his feet and and dusts off his shoulders as if nothing happened. He glances at Xie Lian and Hua Cheng and comments, "Looks like your highness and the Lord Ghost King are enjoying yourselves here." Xie Lian says, "General Pei, are you okay? I seem to have heard a cracking sound." Pei Ming insists that he's fine and pulls out a broken bone that he used as a shovel. The broken bone shovel was the cracking sound that they had heard. A moment later, another figure drops down. It's Pei Su, holding Dan Yue, who is holding the clay pots of Keimo and Rongguan. It looks like the mountain spirit has spat them all out. Xie Lian and Hua Cheng exchange a look. Or is it that someone told the spirit to spit them all out?
And at this point, it's really confusing to see like whose side the guoshi is in. Like, what is his plans here? Why are they shoving everyone, bringing them all? Because obviously the guoshi knows who's here. The mountain spirit has told the guoshi like who's there, why they're there, and like they can spy on them. So the guoshi knows what's going on. So it's like, whose side is the guoshi on? Shelion explains that the mountain spirit is taking them all towards the kiln. Then he asks, where is Ling Wen? Hua Cheng uses his right eye to take a look and reports that the butterfly was swallowed by the mountain spirit, so Ling Wen and the brocaded mortal are moving on their own, and they can be anywhere by now. Shelian says that they need to find them, so Hua Cheng releases hundreds of butterflies to search. They are led to a blown-up hole on the side of the mountain. It looks like after Ling Wen was spat out by the mountain, she blasted a hole and then ran away. Hua Cheng tells Shelian not to worry. Since they're all headed to the kiln anyways, they'll eventually cross paths.
Since the mountain is taking them to the kiln and there's no more monsters to fight, the group sit down to rest. Just get on your swords! Anyway, Xie Lian decides to keep Kuan Zen as a Daruma doll and to not trigger Yin Yu. Xie Lian decides to keep Kuan Zen as a Daruma doll to not trigger Yin Yu. But Pei Ming is bored, so he keeps slapping the Daruma doll around. Xie Lian feels bad for it and says, General Pei, please stop playing. Pei Ming stops, but as soon as Xie Lian falls asleep, he starts slapping around again. Yin Yu looks over from time to time, looking like he wants to speak but says nothing. Pei Ming continues to slap the doll around when suddenly Pei Su falls over. Pei Ming rushes over and says, Little Pei, what's wrong? Yin Yu discreetly picks up the Daruma doll and sets it next to Xie Lian. Oh, discreetly.
That's
oh, he just
so
wants to
cute.
protect him.
Yeah, because he fucking saw Pei Ming slapping that shit around. Pei Ming has no idea that that is Kwani Zen. He just thinks it's a toy.
Why did they
and
tell
Yin
him?
Yu's like, I don't know. And like Yin Yu is just like, please stop slapping him. That's like a person. But he doesn't want to say anything.
Like a fellow heavenly official who's pretty much on the same ranking because
I know.
he was also part of the top
Slapping him
10.
around. Ah, so funny. And I like how Yin Yu's just like secretly trying to protect him because he still feels kind of bad.
Yeah, because he doesn't not respect him. He definitely still respects him and still has an attachment to him. He just doesn't want to be his
Yeah.
friend anymore.
Yeah, he's just traumatized. Hua Cheng is annoyed by all the noise and tells everyone to shut up since Xie Lian is sleeping. Unfortunately, Xie Lian wakes up anyways, and he finds himself leaning against Hua Cheng's shoulder. Hua Cheng whispers, Gaga is awake? Xie Lian rubs his eyes and asks what's going on, but Hua Cheng says that it's nothing and that he should take another nap. Xie Lian sees Pei Ming shaking Pei Su, who is now wide awake, alarmed. But after examining Pei Su, Xie Lian says, "Oh, don't worry, General Pei. General Pei Jr. is just tired and hungry and couldn't hang on for the moment." So Pei Su is currently immortal, and he hasn't had food or water for days. Xie Lian is used to starvation, and one meal can last him 3 days, but Pei Su isn't used to it and has collapsed from hunger. Pei Ming remarks that mortal bodies are inconvenient.
Just go to sleep for dinner. Sleep for dinner.
Yeah, just sleep for dinner. That's fine.
Lan Yue offers the toppled phoenix's pot of stew, but Pei Ming shouts, Why are you still holding on to that thing? Throw it out. Oh my god.
Poison. Why does she still have it?
It's like moving around still.
Yeah, it's like wiggling. It's all like pixelated.
Watson turns to Xie Lian. See, I told you it was nothing. Why not take another nap? Xie Lian asks how far they've come, and Yin Yu replies, 800 miles. Xie Lian looks around their surroundings when suddenly he sees something that alarms him. What's that down there? At the bottom of the mountain is a giant human face. It has crescent eyes and curved lips, as if smiling creepily. But upon a second look, Xie Lian realizes the face is actually an optical illusion formed by a collection of hills and ravines.
Hua Cheng explains that the eyes and lips are actually the Wuyong River. The water comes from the melted snow on the mountaintop, but it has dried up completely. The nose in the middle is a city that has another divine temple. Xie Lian wants to go down and see, but Pei Ming says that perhaps there's also food down there for Pei Su to eat. Hua Cheng waves his hand and silver butterflies appear, resting on everyone's shoulders, backs, heads, and sleeves. Xie Lian uses Roye to tie everyone together, and then he asks if everyone is ready. But Pei Ming suddenly says, "Wait." Xie Lian says, "General Pei, is something the matter?" Then Pei Ming says, "There's something that I've been meaning to ask. What's that on your hand?"
Xie Lian looks down and sees the red string still tied to him and Watson's finger. Oh, Xie Lian clears his throat. Xie Lian clears his throat and says, "This is a spiritual device for contacts of sorts." Pei Ming says, "Oh, wouldn't it be inconvenient? It's a string after all. What if you trip on it or it gets entangled somewhere? Accidents will happen." Pei Ming makes sense, but Xie Lian isn't willing to cut the string. He hesitates to ask, so Watson smiles and says, "It certainly is a little inconvenient like this." Then he makes the string disappear between their fingers. Now it's much more practical. Xie Lian stares at where the string disappeared, a little dumbfounded. It shouldn't be a big deal, but he's still a little bit upset. Dumbfounded. Did I say it correctly?
Oh, I think you said something else.
Oh my god.
Maybe.
Xie Lian stares at where the red string disappeared, a bit dumbfounded. It shouldn't be a big deal, but he still feels a little upset. Worried that someone will notice, Xie Lian squeezes out a smile and says, let's go. Ready? Jump!
Oh, poor Shelion.
You,
The
the red
group
string.
jumps off the mountain like a grasshopper jumping off a house. The butterflies envelop their bodies and land them lightly on the nose of the giant face. Shelion looks around but is confused. The first temple was in a town with streets, shops, and houses, but this city is a field of flat land, empty and barren. Didn't Hua Cheng say this was a city? Hua Cheng explains that the city is actually under their feet.
Ooh.
They look down, but there is only rock. Hua Cheng pulls out Yiming and strikes the ground, creating a large hole. Then he jumps in and tells everyone to follow. It's dark inside until Hua Cheng releases silver butterflies to light up the darkness, instantly illuminating the hole and revealing a long street.
On the street are many shops and large houses. Watson says that the entire city was buried under volcanic ash, 7 meters thick. The section of the city is what was dug out by ghosts who were in previous Mount Tonglu trials. There are still more sections of the city that are buried and undiscovered. It looks like the prophetic dream of the Prince of Wuyong came true. Pei Ming leaves with Banyue to find water for Pei Su. After they leave, Huazhen tells Xie Lian, Guga, look at your hand. Xie Lian looks down, and though the red string is gone, the red knot on his third finger is still there. Didn't Huazhen say that if the red string breaks, the knot will disappear? What's going on?
It's still there.
Hehe.
Seeing Shelion stunned, Hua Cheng smiles and says, It's just a little camouflage spell, that's all. The red string is hidden. The distance is now unrestricted, and you won't have to worry about tripping over it. But it didn't actually break. As long as the affinity knot is still there, then the person on the other end of the red string is safe. Once we're close to the kiln, dangers will increase. We don't know what's ahead of us just yet, so I thought this red string still can't be untied. What do you think? Now that he knows the red string is still there, Shelion smiles brightly. He quickly calms his expression and says, Oh yes, if that's the case, then we can know whether the other is safe at a moment's notice. It's a very practical spell.
Huazhen smiles, but then turns serious. But your highness, there's something I must say. Xie Lian asks, what is it? Huazhen replies, I know you can't die, and you're not afraid to die, but no matter how tough you are, don't think yourself incapable of getting hurt. Xie Lian's taken aback. Huazhen continues, not dying does not mean getting hurt. Not dying does not mean not getting hurt, and it definitely doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. When you see something strange and dangerous, don't just touch it. Find me. Let me take care of it. Xie Lian suddenly remembers how he touched those poisonous skulls with his hands and wonders if Huazhen was upset because of that. He replies, All right, I won't do that anymore. Hearing his sincere promise, Huazhen looks satisfied. Oh my god!
I love this scene so much.
Oh
I
my-
love this scene so much.
Wow.
Like
Oh
the
my-
entire time, every single time Hua Cheng sees Shelion hurting himself, he just like clenches his fist or like gets upset, but he doesn't say anything. And this is like the first time he's like expressed himself and like communicated like, just because you can't die doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. And I don't like seeing you get hurt, so like fucking stop it, okay?
Oh my
Like,
god.
so good,
Oh,
so
that's
good.
so sentimental. Oh my gosh. Wow. Ooh, finally Huatzon's
love
like
it.
being true, like being like
Yes.
not like usually he's kind of like saying one thing but he's really trying to mean something else. Like what's the
Yes.
he's being sly, but now he's like
Yes.
being very very forward about how he feels.
Straightforward. Yes, like he's not trying to like, because he doesn't also want to reveal his own feelings. Like he doesn't like think that his feelings are like worthy of Shelion, so he doesn't want to like express how much he loves him. So he's always like downplayed it as a joke and stuff. But like this is like his real sincerity coming through and his real feelings, and that's so beautiful. Oh my god, I love it so much. Like he just cares. He just
He does.
cares. Hua Cheng is about to continue down the road when Shelian cries out, Sanlang, wait! Hua Cheng looks back and Shelian hesitates before saying softly, You too. If there's something dangerous, you don't touch. I won't touch either, alright? Hearing this, a side of Hua Cheng's lips lift, and he takes a step closer, about to speak. But suddenly, Pei Ming's voice calls out, What is this? Banyue replies, Looks like people. Pei Ming says, But why would people turn to something like this? Shelian walks towards Pei Ming and says, Turn into what?
What a great chapter. So much
So
flirting.
much flirting.
So much flirting.
The red string, and they're just like talking to each other, and it's lovely.
Oh, it's so cute. I'm honestly so glad that Watson's finally being a little bit more forward because,
Yeah.
like, if you can imagine from Watson's perspective,
Hmm.
this entire 800 years, he's never thought that he would actually court Xie Lian. He just
No,
wanted to serve Xie
never thought I
Lian.
would see him again. Like honestly.
Yeah, like he loves him in a way that like a worshiper loves a god
Yeah.
through and through, and he's always felt
Just
that
like
way.
far away and idealized. Yeah.
Yeah, and whereas Xielan has always kind of considered Watson like a prospect, but was always thinking that there's no way Watson could like him back like that. And
No,
so
yeah, it's
these,
very obvious. It's very obvious that Xie Lian has feelings towards Hua Cheng, and there's multiple times throughout the book where he's like having to stamp down his feelings because he doesn't want to give himself away. Like literally on verbatim in the book, he's like he doesn't want to give his true feelings away. So he already knows he's self-aware enough to realize that he likes him. He just doesn't think he's like worthy because Hua Cheng is so cool and so awesome. Like he doesn't think he's like equal to him.
yeah, yeah, it's just two dumbasses who are obsessed
It's
with each
really
other.
they're both think they're not worthy of each other. They're so stupid. Like, jeez.
I love seeing relationships in which two people equally pine for each other rather than like one person likes the other and then the other person
Yeah,
eventually is like, okay, I guess I'll date you.
like
And
unrequited stuff.
I do like unrequited. You're right. I do like unrequited. I guess I'm just like, in our modern society, it's always like,
Yeah.
do I kind of like you? I guess I kind of like you. Okay, I guess we'll just like hang out a bunch more until I fall in love with you. Like it just feels it doesn't feel as
Yeah.
romantic as
Yeah. It
these
feels kind of
books do.
forced instead of like natural.
When you're like on Tinder, like that's why young love is just still so beautiful and amazing. Like first love is always still like fun to talk about.
No strings attached. Everyone just feels their feelings. No
Yeah.
baggage. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas like now on Tinder, you start dating and you're like, I have to find likable things about this person until I like them. it's
Yes, right, right,
like
right.
dating before we actually fall in love, and it's just like I want you to fall in love first and then date. Then be shy and all like pining and develop
Crazy.
strong feelings.
Ah, society.
Society. We live in a society.
Let's see comments. Oh, Carador, welcome in. Tankurius says, "Who cares? Gotta flirt, legit." Yeah. um, Kate. Oh, Kate says, "Just me over here screaming about Shellyon being upset about the red
I
streak."
know it's so cute. It's like my red streak. I loved
I love them.
it.
I love them so much.
Chaos and destruction. Who cares? Gotta flirt. Yeah. Okay. So now we're moving on to chapter 165 Saint Born Under the Ominous Star. Pei Ming and the others enter a house to look for a well. Shailan comments that all the houses here are impressive looking. Watson explains that the kiln used to be the imperial capital, and since this town is close to the kiln/capital, it was a wealthy place where government officials and important people used to live. There's a well in the house, but around the well are 8 people sprawled over the edge as if dying from thirst and struggling to go to water. Upon closer inspection, Shailan realizes that the people are actually ashen white stone statues, similar to the stone remains of people in Pompeii.
And if you guys are not familiar with Pompeii, it's a giant volcano in Italy that exploded, and now there's like architectural remains. Architectural? No, no. Archaeological remains of like the people who got covered in the volcanic ash and then like basically became. The ash formed into rocks around their bodies.
Yeah.
And the bodies inside died, but the statues are still there. So that's kind of what's going on right now because of volcano eruption from
Yeah.
Mount Tonglu. Shelian is about to touch one, but Hua Cheng gives him a look, and Shelian remembers that he just promised not to touch anything strange or dangerous. Inside the house, there are more statues of 2 people lying together, hugging each other tightly with terrified faces, and between them is a bundled baby. Shelian realizes that the people inside the Shelian realizes that the people inside are the masters of the house, and the people outside were the servants. Hua Cheng explains that after the volcano erupted, the people who lived in the lower regions burned to death, but the people who lived higher up were covered in volcanic ash and died from suffocation. The ash wrapped around their bodies, forming a hard shell, preserving their last moments and turning them into stone statues.
Pei Ming discovers that the well is dried up, so he leaves, carrying Pei Su. It continues to continue search. I'm gonna start over the paragraph. It was the typo that threw me off.
Yep, you're fine.
Pei Ming discovers that the well is dried up, so he leaves, carrying Pei Su, to continue searching for water. Meanwhile, Xie Lian notices that the statue of the parents are holding something in their hands, but can't quite see it. He worries it'll be disrespectful to the remains to disturb them, but Hua Cheng immediately shatters the statues into ashen shards and says that Xie Lian doesn't have to be concerned. The people are long dead and the remains are no more. The statue turns out to be the statues to turn The statues turn out to be hollow on the inside. The corpse inside has long been rotted away, and only the outer ashen shell is what remains.
Among the stone pieces, they see what the family was holding. It is a pendant with a large golden circle and bones hanging from the chains. On the circle is a drawing of the ominous star celestial phase. Normally, the ominous star is a bad omen sign towards rulers and emperors. So why is there this drawing on the pendant? And a note from the author: ancient Chinese astronomers noted the ominous star as a fall of greatness or major changes in politics or dynasties. So it's not. It's like that's why it's unfavorable towards rulers or emperors, because it means that their current rule is about to end or something drastic is going to happen. Hua Cheng explains that this is the protection charm of the Wuyong crown prince, because the prince was born under the ominous star. So the people use the celestial face to symbolize him. Hua Cheng also explains that even though the ominous star is a bad omen in present times, perhaps 2,000 years ago it had a different connotation.
Xie Lian's heart sinks because he, too, was born under the ominous star. Isn't this too big of a coincidence? Oh, he was born
They're
under the
both
ominous
born
star.
under the same thing.
Xie Lian hurries to find the divine temple. Pei Ming joins them because he wasn't able to find any water. As they walk through the town, they see more statues of travelers and homeless beggars who couldn't find shelter. Hua Cheng points out different buildings to Xie Lian as they go. Xie Lian asks how he can read the ancient language, but Hua Cheng explains that a couple of words are similar enough to modern characters to know, and the rest he deduced from context clues, such as which words frequently showed up around certain types of buildings. Xie Lian is so amazed that he was able to teach himself an entire ancient language with just that, and no help.
There's a lot of actually a lot of this chapter that was dedicated to just that, of like how Hua Cheng learned this language, because literally he only started off knowing two characters, Wuyong, because those were the only two characters that were close enough to the modern like Chinese words, and everything else like learned by himself through context clues. Like, oh, this looks like a restaurant, so these must be restaurant words. Like everything else he just learned on his own with no help, and like Xie Lian is like super amazed by like how smart Hua Cheng is. Like it's kind of downplayed in the summary, but he was like super like blown away by how fucking smart Hua Cheng is. That's crazy. Finally, ooh, I wrote ground instead of group. Finally, the group finds the temple, the grandest and most impressive building in the city. As they enter, they hear rat noises, which means that there's water nearby. Inside the temple, there are no burned walls. Instead, they see three colorful murals, one on each wall. On the first mural is the crown prince of Wuyong, sitting on clouds with golden light. But his face is severe, and his left hand has a ball of light showing a volcano eruption, and his right hand is a fist. Below is a palace filled with people all agitated and gesturing differently. Some have wide arms holding a map, and there are also people dressed in battle armor and holding weapons.
Xie Lian deduces that this is a scene where the crown prince tells the palace of his prophetic dream. The palace advisors decide that they need to expand the country and invade neighboring countries in order to avoid the volcanic disaster. But the crown prince disagrees with this method, hence his fist, because he doesn't want war. In the second mural, there's a battlefield with rivers of blood and dead soldiers on both sides. The Wuyang soldiers are trampled in the head of their enemies and raises corpses with their spears. There are even soldiers reaching for women and children with savage smiles. Above the battlefield is the crown prince of Wuyang peeking through a layer of clouds to watch the scene below. His expression is furious. One of his arms is extended, releasing a pillar of light against the Wuyang soldiers.
Ooh, two more murals, and they're not great. Like, one of them is straight up like a really disgusting battlefield.
Dark.
of the Wuyong soldiers going crazy.
Damn.
Yeah. And how fucked up. They're just like, oh, our kingdom, we don't want our kingdom to die, so we'll just fucking kill the other kingdoms to take over them instead. Like, that's fun.
So messed up.
Xie Lian deduces that the generals didn't listen to the crown prince's advice and dispatched armies to the neighboring countries anyway. The soldiers killed too much, even harassing the weaker citizens, so the crown prince stopped the soldiers. Pei Ming says sarcastically, "How touching." He thinks that between your own country and another country, isn't it better to protect your own? The soldiers are fighting for their kingdom's survival, but their own prince is going against them. Wouldn't that make them resentful towards the crown prince? Which is like something that Xie Lian has encountered himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. So Xie Lian chuckles awkwardly and says woefully, "General Pei is, right." Hua Cheng only grunts coldly. Pei Ming also adds that the volcano is going to erupt soon. What is this crown prince thinking? He can't let people just wait for their own deaths and do nothing. Xie Lian suggests that they look at the last mural to see if there's an answer.
However, when they get to the third mural, Xie Lian's eyes go wide in shock, and Pei Ming comments, "My god, is this the idea the Crown Prince of Wuyong came up with? Daring. Worthy of admiration." At the bottom of the mural is the kingdom of Wuyong. At the center is a giant shining bridge held up by the Crown Prince of Wuyong and his 4 guardians. The people on the ground are swarming towards the bridge with bright smiles. This Crown Prince of Wuyong had built a bridge that connected the heavens with the intention of bringing his people to the heavenly realm. That's big.
Crazy. This is
Yeah.
crazy. You crazy. Just crazy.
Like, we've already seen how big Wuyong is. Like, they literally are taking
tens of thousands.
a week. Yeah, like a week to even traverse to the center of it. And this crown prince wanted to build a bridge that could connect the land to heaven.
Fucking literally heaven, like where the gods live, and then bring all the people to heaven. Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Like, on a single bridge. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But we are getting more and more hints of repetition in history of the similarities between Xie Lian and the Crown Prince of Wuyong, how their own citizens kind of went against the Crown Prince because the Crown Prince didn't agree with what they were doing, and a kingdom sort of going through turmoil and like near destruction. So yeah, lots of similarities. History is a cycle.
Yep. It's a cycle, and it's just showing that no matter what, people are faced in can always do the same thing like over and again. So like the people were trying to fight in order to get what they wanted, similar to how Shanla also fought. They just devolved into war, even though the resources were very few.
Yes. It's just limited resources, because like literally this volcano is about to erupt and like kill the entire kingdom. Like it's about to cover the entire kingdom with volcanic lava and ash. So they literally had no choice. It was either like stay and die or go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And instead of going somewhere else, they decided to take over somewhere else and like make it theirs instead, so that they could continue having their kingdom.
Yeah.
Instead of just like becoming part of another country.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you guys can kind of imagine it being the size of China and telling everyone in China just leave. Go somewhere else. You can't.
No way. This volcano's about to just kill the entire country. So
yeah.
Peace out.
It's ridiculous. All right. So let's take a look.
Instead, he wants to build a bridge for the entire country to go to heaven. That's totally fine.
Yep. A bridge. It's a great idea.
Yeah. Pei Ming is like, yep, great idea. Wow.
Wow. Bridge. Math. Can't fit them anywhere else, but we're going to put them in heaven.
Put them in heaven. Heaven's big enough for all these humans, right? That's fine.
Yeah. So looking at chat right now. Hello, Andrew. Welcome.
Andrew, hey, what's up? You finally made it to one of the streams.
Yeah. So this is our podcast. In case you're curious about how we do it, we basically just do a deep dive summary of each chapter, and then we talk about our feelings and predictions and character analysis and explanations about different things like cultural explanations, because this is all like Chinese fantasy, so it's very different from Western fantasy.
Yes. And like clarification of what's going on in the story, because it can be a little bit, it's a lot of story going on at once and it's hard to untangle sometimes. So I try to like we try to help you untangle it all so it all makes sense in your head.
Yeah. And because we've been reading so much like danmei novels, all these Chinese
Okay.
fantasy novels, we see reoccurring things that we like you don't see in
There are
other
tropes.
yeah, and so we help you explain like the trope. We just help you understand the tropes and stuff. But currently we're following our characters on a in like a oh god, it's so hard to explain.
They were in a battle royale situation, and then they got onto a mountain spirit, and the mountain spirit was moving them towards the middle of the battle royale because the circle was shrinking. But then they got distracted because they went to see a city on the way there.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're going to Mordor.
Yep. They're on a mission. They are on a mission from heaven.
Yeah, there's a group of them. They're on a mission from heaven to go to Mordor to kill everyone who's trying to go to Mordor. But along the way, they're finding out a lot about history. It's just
And some spooky thing. Like these few chapters, when I was reading them, I was getting spooked. Because I was like, why is Xie Lian? Is he like, who is Xie Lian? Like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
why is history repeating? And like, what is his deal? Like, how is he involved?
Yes, please listen to all of our episodes. I would really appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm impressed how well you ladies explain the story. I love listening to all the cultural differences and story writing. Thank you. Yay!
You're so nice. Thank you, Tingers.
Yeah. And then Kate's already read the book and she's just like, I don't know how to say anything without spoilers.
She knows how we feel when we read certain scenes because it's like, fuck, that's some good foreshadowing for like some big events that are coming up in the book.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So,
Oh my god.
Gotta hold it all in.
Wow. Okay, so let's move on to the next chapter.
Chapter 166. Xie Lian is speechless. Pei Ming says, he can do that? Hua Cheng comments, why not? Technically, appointing junior officials and generals is bringing mortals to the heavenly realm. His plan was to pull up everyone in the royal capital temporarily, and once the disaster was over, send them all back down. Pei Ming argues that appointing officials takes up a lot of spiritual power. How many people was the crown prince planning to appoint? Hua Cheng replies that there were about 100,000 people in the entirety of Wuyong Kingdom, and about some 10,000 in the royal capital. Xie Lian says quietly, "It might be tough, but it's still doable, though just barely."
Pei Ming comments, even if it's only a few tens of thousands, there's still no heavenly official who dare appoint that many. If he really went through with it, then I can't tell if he should be congratulated on his courage or extremely stupid. At least, there's definitely no other person like him in history. Xie Lian stares at the mural, and the more he stares, the more he sees his own face and his four guoshis in the face of the crown prince and his four guardians. There's four guardians in addition to the four guoshi?
No, the crown prince of Wuyong, and he has the four guardians. And then there's Xie Lian and his four guoshis.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Xie Lian stares at the mural, and the more he stares, the more he sees his own face and his four guoshi in the face of the crown prince and the crown prince's four guardians. They were both born under the ominous star. Is this a tale of reincarnation? By judging from his own experiences, he can almost guess what happens next. Xie Lian tries to change the subject, Sorry. Brain kept going.
You're fine. Xie Lian tries to change the subject, asking if water has been found. Ban Yue says that Yin Yu went to go look. Xie Lian looks at Pei Su, who's still unconscious, and suggests that Pei Su stay behind. He is immortal after all. Pei Ming agrees, but asks Xie Lian not to tell Pei Su the reason, or it would hurt his pride and he'll feel bitter. Pei Ming volunteers to talk to him instead when he wakes up. The group waits for the temple for a very long time, but Yin Yu doesn't return. Xie Lian grows worried and asks Hua Cheng to come with him to go look for Yin Yu together. Xie Lian leaves Roye behind as a protection circle.
As they walk through the city, Xie Lian finds a jar he likes and picks it up. Trash collector.
He is literally.
Hua Cheng is amused and asks what he's doing. Xie Lian explains that perhaps they can use the jar to bring back water for Pei Su. Xie Lian has gotten used to collecting trash Xie Lian has gotten used to collecting trash after all. Hua Cheng laughs and says, if you like stuff like this, come over to my place after. I've got a few items too, and you can see if you find anything you like. Soon they hear water and they find a river. Xie Lian passes the Xie Lian places the jar in the water and begins washing it. He's about to take a drink from the jar when Hua Cheng says, "Don't drink it." Xie Lian puts down the jar, and just then they hear a voice. So hot.
I love how Hua Cheng just always wants to invite Xie Lian over to his house, like any opportunity. Like, come on over to my house.
Yeah, they've got a big screen TV. I've got drinks. I've got
all this
snacks.
trash for you to look at. You love trash, right? I have so much trash.
Yeah, I'll get trash. You want me to get some trash? I'll get it for
get
you.
more trash for you.
You like swords? I'll get more swords for you.
Literally, he built a whole armory. Oh, I love it. Xie Lian looks down. The voice came from inside his jar. Inside the jar are two scarlet red dots floating in the water. They're a pair of eyes. The eyes jump out towards Xie Lian's face, but Xie Lian reacts quickly and throws the jar several meters away. It smashes against the wall and shatters. The creature inside scurries away into the darkness. Xie Lian says woefully, "It wasn't in that jar before, was it?" Hua Cheng replies, "No, it swam into it from the waters. There are often creatures that flock together and swim in this hidden river. That's why I told you not to drink it." Xie Lian thinks to himself, "But you would let General Pei Jr. drink it?"
Yeah, because he doesn't care about him.
Stop him. Yeah, he didn't stop him from giving it to Pei Su.
Also, who do you think was inside the jar? Was it the baby?
Oh my gosh. I already know what it is, but I'll let you guys guess.
Suddenly, Xie Lian feels a presence and he shouts out, "Who's there?" There are noises and clattering and coughing coming from all around. Xie Lian and Hua Cheng are soon surrounded by countless pairs of red dots. Hua Cheng says, "Don't worry, they're not human." The voices are saying, so hot. I'm burning. I'm suffocating. Is anyone there? I can't move. The voices are dull but full of pain. Xie Lian feels like... The voices are tiny but full of pain. Xie Lian feels like there's ants crawling into his ears. He's about to reach for Fang Xin when a voice cries out, "Your Highness, where's your Highness? Save me, save me." Xie Lian feels goosebumps and thinks the voice calling out for him. But Hua Cheng waves his hand, releasing thousands of butterflies and illuminated the creatures clattering in the dark. They're all rats.
Xie Lian is stunned. The rats are the size of a cat with thick black needle-like hairs. They have red beady eyes, but they can speak the human language. The butterflies begin attacking the rats, and there is a bloody, violent battle. Xie Lian wonders, Yin Yu couldn't have been dragged off somewhere by these creatures, could he? Hua Cheng replies, he shouldn't be that useless. It's probably something else that's tripped him up. Xie Lian asks why the rats are so big. Hua Cheng explains that these are corpse-eating rats. At first, they ate all the people and large farm animals that died from the volcano eruptions, but eventually that food was gone and they starved for a long time, until one day they smelled the smell of rot. The humanoid stone statues began to rot and corpse water flowed out.
Ew. The starving rat bit small holes through the stone and scurried inside, eating the corpses within. The corpses were wrapped with ash, and their terror, rage, and frustrations were trapped inside. When the rats ate the corpses, their emotions were also eaten, and they began to speak the human tongue in expressions the dead wanted to say in their last moments. Xie Lian now understands and says, "I see. That's why they would say those things. I was wondering why they would say such words." But unexpectedly, Hua Cheng grows serious and says, "What did they say? What did you hear?" Xie Lian is confused and repeats what the rats said. "So hot, it's suffocating, can't move." But then he realizes the rats were speaking the Wuyong language. Why can he understand the Wuyong tongue?
Dun, dun, dun! Oh man, what's going on? Now he understands the Wuyong language. What's going on with Xie Lian? Secrets.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh
Yeah.
man, very creepy.
Yeah,
Very creepy.
yeah, I know. Oh God, I love when they get creepy. I like when there's like horror because I think that like female writers can write horror like no other.
Yes, very creepy situations. Uncomfortable. It's like they're uncomfortable situations, and just like it's nothing like outwardly horrific, but it just makes you feel a little off kilter. You're just like, I feel very uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
it's so
definitely
good.
have to listen to the story from the beginning. There's so much
Yes,
exposition up to this point. There's no way to even explain it. Like we're literally halfway through the entire story and there's 5 books.
yes, we're like in the towards the end of book 3, I would say. We're about to enter book 4 soon. So that's
Yeah.
super exciting for us book 4 knowers.
Hmm.
We're about to get ourselves into a whole arc of sadness. But yeah, right now there's so many different like arcs already happened up to this point.
Hmm.
Like yeah,
And
it's
at this
crazy.
point, a few of them had like for this part of the story, a few of them were overlapping. Like the fetus
Absolutely.
baby,
Yes.
the ghost
Yep.
fetus arc, the
Pei Ming being everywhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yin Yu and Kuan Zen's arc,
Yeah, the
Brocaded
immortal
Mortal.
brocade.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
all like
Ling
kind of,
Wen.
and now we're in Montanglu, and none of them have really resolved. They've all kind
Yeah.
of intertwined into each other.
Yeah. It's just like flowing into each other, like slowly and gradually being bigger and bigger.
You're gonna need therapy. Yeah, I know.
Oh God, I know. I'm
Uh,
seriously just like thinking about it because book 4 has a lot of body horror, which I get really squeamish about. Um, can't handle body horror, man. It's like, oh, it's rough.
it's okay. I'll read those
Yeah,
parts.
yeah, it's good, good.
Yeah. I love how
Either
creepy it is.
Shellyan's really tied to the history and he's absorbing the knowledge, or he's the reincarnation. I'm going with the latter. Good theories. Good
I
theories.
love these theories because that's my theory is
Yeah.
that like he was reincarnated, like this is his punishment again for having come back to life
Yeah.
and all
All
that
the
kind of stuff.
different cycles.
Or maybe there was just so many lies in his amnesia or something. Just like a lot
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. When I first read, I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was so unclear.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do one more chapter, I think.
Yes, I think we should do this next chapter because it's really cute. I like it a lot. Chapter 167, Jealous Ghost King, 3 questions on where the friendship lies. Though Hua Cheng can read the Wuyong language, he's never heard anyone speak it, so he couldn't understand what the rats were saying. How did Xie Lian understand the rats? Hua Cheng can see Hua Cheng can see what Xie Lian is thinking and immediately says, "Guga, don't panic just yet. I'll repeat those words to you just now. Give it a listen." Hua Cheng has perfect memory and he repeats the rat's words, but this time Xie Lian can't understand the words. How can this be? Hua Cheng explains, "What you understood wasn't the Wuyong tongue, but the emotions of those who died."
Shannon understands, but at the same time, he doesn't. Hwaton explains further. A long time ago, someone heard the voices of the dead and understood them and remembered them, then somehow translated this memory to you, infected you with these emotions. Those voices had always been buried deep within your mind, and the moment you heard them, you were dragged into those emotions directly. Xielan wonders who is the one who transplanted the memories. Was it his guoshi? Xielan starts to panic again, wondering how he's related to all this. But Watson grips his shoulder tightly and warns, Guga, don't keep making yourself think in that direction.
Poor Xie Lian, he's like spiraling into a panic right now. Oof. Xie Lian says, "Fine. Then Sanlong, in order to transplant memories and emotions to another, what kind of requirements must there usually be?" Hua Cheng says that first, you must trust the person absolutely, willing to be led by them. Second, you must be powerless to retaliate against them. You hold deep fear towards them, and they have the power to oppress you. Shellyan thinks and then says with hesitation that there are 3 people who hold some of these requirements. The first person is his guoshi. Though he loved his parents and trusted them, he and his father disagreed too much, so he's unwilling to be led by him. But he trusts his guoshi wholeheartedly, and that fulfills the first requirement.
The second person is Junwu, which is the god emperor of heaven. Obviously, he respects and admires Junwu immensely, and so that obviously he respects and admires Junwu immensely, and so that fulfills the first requirement. The third one, Shailan says that he matches the second requirement, but not the first one. Wait, that sentence makes little sense.
The third person that he can think
Oh,
of
the
matches
third
this.
person. Hold on. And the third person, Xie Lian says that that person matches the second requirement, but not the first. It's the white-clothed calamity. Xie Lian admits to Hua Cheng that even though he had put up a strong face in front of everyone, even Mu Qing and Fen Qin, he was actually deeply afraid of that creature. In the past, just hearing his name would make him tremble, but he could never show anyone else his fear because he had to give them hope. Xie Lian is no longer as afraid, but Hua Cheng grips his shoulder and says, "It's nothing, it's nothing. Bleh, it's nothing. It's nothing shameful to be afraid of something."
Xie Lian has a tight smile and says, I'm just not brave enough, that's all. Hua Cheng comforts him and says, you don't need to be so hard on yourself. Without fear, there is no courage. Xie Lian is taken aback, but Hua Cheng changes the subject and he says, so it's only those three? Xie Lian thinks, then says that there's actually one more who fulfills the first requirement, but this person has nothing to do with these memories. Hua Cheng asks if this person and Xie Lian has many years of friendship. Xie Lian thinks to himself, not many years, but a deep friendship. And he's obviously thinking about Hua Cheng right now. He's too embarrassed to say it out loud, though, and thus he says ambiguously, in any case, he might be the one I trust the most, even more so than my guoshi and Jinwu.
Xie Lian adds that if he ever got into any trouble, that person's the first person he thinks of. He trusts him completely in a different way that he trusts Jinwu or his guoshi. But suddenly, Hua Chen's face grows dark because he's so jealous. Xie Lian is worried. So long. Hua Chen corrects his face and raises his brows. Oh, it's nothing. I was thinking of something else. Your Highness really trusts this person so much? Hua Chen's tone is trying to go for teasing, but it's kind of a natural. Xie Lian nods and says, is there a problem? Hua Chen casually fixes his van braces on his sleeves and says, nothing major, but as a personal opinion, it's best if Guga doesn't trust others so easily.
He's so fucking jealous.
This fucking
so
bitch.
Fucking stupid.
Doesn't
He's
he
literally
realize?
talking about him. He's like, I trust Hua Cheng with all my life. And Hua Cheng's like, stop trusting people so easily. Just stop being
This
jealous.
person's so special to me. I mean, they're always there when I'm in trouble. They feed me. They like protect me. They gave me a
Think
whole
about him
house.
all the time.
Yeah,
Like, who are
he
you talking
worships
about?
me.
Who is this person?
He sleeps with me in bed.
He's so stupid. Oh my god.
Oh, so good.
Xie Lian is speechless. He has no idea if Hua Cheng figured out who he's talking about. He just replies, oh. And then after a pause says, Sanlong isn't going to ask who this person is? Hua Cheng replies, since Guga said you trust him and is determined that he has nothing to do with this affair, then there's no need to ask. But if Guga wants to tell me, Sanlong is happy to listen. Xie Lian feels too awkward to tell him the truth, but right then, the butterflies have finished fighting off the rats and return. The butterflies are tired, flying low from fatigue, so Xie Lian quickly greets them, saying, thanks for your hard work.
Instantly, the butterflies are surrounding Xie Lian and fluttering around him. Xie Lian is stunned, but Hua Chen gives a calm cough, and the butterflies all pause, then fly towards Hua Chen properly, landing on his silver van braces and becoming one of the butterflies of his engravings. Xie Lian and Hua Chen continues to search for Yin Yu, but after a moment, Hua Chen says, it's not Fen Qin, is it?
Are you fucking kidding me? Wow.
Xie Lian is...
Can't leave it alone. Can't leave it
Oh
alone.
my god. Xie Lian is confused. Huh? What? Hua Chen replies, that person Guga spoke of. Xie Lian waves his hand. Of course not. Hua Chen's brow twitches. It's not Mu Qin either, is it? Xie Lian is getting nervous. That's even more impossible. But why is Sanlong suddenly asking about this again?
Fucking stupid. So fucking stupid.
So dumb.
I fucking love this scene. It's so fucking stupid. Hua Cheng smiles and says, I thought about it and suddenly felt that this fourth person is the most suspicious. So to prevent any surprises, will Guga please tell me who this person is that you trust most and have shared so many years of deep friendship with? Xie Lian looks at his smile and his gut tells him that his smile is very fake. Just as he's about to respond, the butterfly lighting their way suddenly disappears and it goes dark. Hua Cheng grabs Xie Lian's hand and runs into a house to hide. Soon after, they hear heavy footsteps growing closer. Xie Lian thinks it sounds familiar and looks outside. It is a beautiful woman wearing ragged wedding robes. Over her head is a green ghost fire, and in her arms is a small human child with a pale face. It is the female ghosts Xuan Ji and Guzi. They're back.
God damn it,
They're
that
back.
interruption. Blue balling me like that.
I know.
Fucking...
They're literally about to it was about to go get hashed out. Oh my god, that was
she
so
was
funny.
about to tell him.
So much. It was so funny. He's like, who is it? Who is it? I need to know. Who's this person that you have all these deep years of friendship with? Who is this person that you trust so much?
I want to be your BFF.
Yeah, he's like, I only need to know because it's important to this case. No other reason.
Yeah, I'm not jealous or anything.
It's important.
Oh
so
my
fucking dumb. I love him so much.
Oh my god.
So funny. So funny.
Love this chapter. So good.
I know.
So good. Okay, so reading through chat right now.
Yes.
Listening to this chapter, I'm scared of being character now. Oh, of like pretend, because Chris is gonna be cosplaying as Xie Lian and Hua Cheng with their partner. Yeah.
So excited to see that at SumiCon. Oh my goodness.
Yay. Maybe memories are being transferred to him. So many possibilities, right? Could be transferred to him. Who knows? Could be reincarnation.
Yeah, those emotions were transferred to him too. So it's like, who did that? Is it the guoshi?
Hua Cheng being jealous of himself, just like fighting his own shadow.
Literally, he's so stupid.
So who's this guy? Is he prettier than me? Is he richer than me?
Is he richer than... Why is he so important to you?
Oh my god. Such a great chapter. All right, let's take a look at our off topics. I'm going to go through my bookmarks of fan fiction. Literally all of our off topics are fan fiction.
I read so many good fics in the last week. Like, I want to talk about like so many of them, but I might have to hold some of them for bottom of the show because they're so long. But I don't even know what to talk about. There's so many good. Like, I'm like currently in the middle of I'm almost done with the sci-fi one that I had showed you. And I also finished the baseball one that I talked about a long time ago. They're so good. And I also the sad one where it was Mo Xuan Yu's point of view. I finished that one too. Like, I don't know what to talk about.
Okay, well, I have a good one. This one is called. Okay, let me actually put it in the doc so I just have it. Boom. Oh, wait. What did I do? Where am I? What did I touch? There we go. So this one is a scum villain self-saving system one, and it's called The Darkest Little Paradise by Chesra. And the summary of this is that, let me look at my bookmark actually, because it'll be easier to remember what I wrote. So do you guys remember in like Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, there's the Coffin City arc, and it's about like Xiao Xinchen, Song Lan, and Xie Lian, where like one guy is blind, there's like a cute kid, there's a person who's pretending to be somebody else, and they like live together for a few years, and it's super cute, and then somebody else comes into the play and like ruins everything. So this takes place in the scum villain self-saving system world, in which Shen Qinqiu sacrifices his own eyes for Yo Yuan, and then leaves Kangchong Mountain to go and become like a rogue cultivator. And then he bumps into a boy. I'm trying to remember which boy it is. He's like, remember the Jinling City arc where they had the plague and there was like the small young boy who's
the one that was from the enemy house, but he's like a really good boy. But
no, not that one. He's a 10-year-old boy who is the son of the weapons merchant.
Yes. Yeah, he was just like a normal human.
Yeah. So he becomes the like little kid character, and then adult Lo Binghe is the one who like encounters them and then starts living with them. And Lo Binghe, you know, at the beginning he's blackened, right? He just came back from the abyss, and so the first part of the story is just him being like Xie Yang, like trying to figure out where their weak spot is and trying to like maybe figure out why Shen Qinqiu has like his eyes are gone. Why isn't he at Kangchong Mountain? Why doesn't he act like the lofty immortal that he was before? Because his whole idea when he was in the abyss is that Shen Qingqiu is the person he's going to take revenge on. He's going to kill him for being this like horrible teacher who only thinks of himself and like hates demons. But then all of a sudden he meets this like humble Shen Qingqiu who wears rags, doesn't have eyes, does a lot of things for free, is nomadic and just moves around everywhere. Doesn't live like nice at all. Is just really poor, taking care of a kid and like kind of being nice to the kid. And he's like fucking jealous of this kid. Who is this fucking kid? So it's a lot of angst, but it definitely has a happy ending because eventually, like, you're watching this from Shen Qingqiu's perspective. You see that Shen Qingqiu starts like having feelings for this stranger who's just like hanging around and taking care of him for no reason.
Doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, this guy like built him a house out of bamboo. It's like he always helps him like find food and stuff and cooks for him. Like it becomes really sweet. And of course, there's a lot of angst. And I love Shen Qingqiu and angst. They're my favorite. I love it so much. So yeah, I highly recommend this one. It's in the Patreon doc, or if you guys just want to search for it by verbally listening to me, the Darkest Little Paradise by Chesra.
Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to chat real fast while you're still searching.
Well, no, I already found it. I was just updating the notes section.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. So the one I want to talk about is called An Imitation of Life by Traveling Neuritis. And this is, I'm not done with this one yet. And it's completed. It's just really long. So I'm like about like 70% done. But this is set, okay, like this writer could write like an original novel and I would read it. It's like the writing is amazing and the world building is like crazy. Like it's a Modazushi fanfic, but it's set in what's the movie that's
Blade Runner.
It's very Blade Runner. Yeah, it's very Blade Runner. There are like replicants. There's like a whole society where people like live above in like towers above the like stratosphere because like ground level is like toxic. There's like toxic rain and people if you're poor you're like a groundling who lives in the toxic rain, and if you're like rich you can afford like hovercrafts and live in the towers above the sky and stuff. And it's like super dope. There's like literally whole sections of this book like fanfic dedicated to just like the world's building and like the side characters and like the politics of everything that's going on in this universe, and I find that so fucking interesting.
And the way they write it is not boring, because I've read exposition and it's horrifying to read because it's so boring, but this person really writes it in such a way that I thoroughly enjoy listening to it. Yeah,
right. And I'm like, and I don't always love I love fantasy, but I'm always like iffy about sci-fi, but this fucking got me, like hooked me in. So basically the idea is that so Wuyong is like a sentient AI. Like he is like a computer program, and he's lived for like hundreds of years. Like he was created like by these like genius coders like back in the day. And he became this like sentient AI, but he's like the first AI of his kind. Like every other AI is like pre-programmed. They have like direct rules that they have to follow, and he's the only one that can like make choices for himself. He didn't want to get himself discovered because then all the fucking scientists are gonna like fucking experiment on him. He doesn't want to become an experiment. So instead, he like sneaks out of the prison that he's in, and he finds like a replicant that has like the highest RAM, which ends up being like a fucking sex doll, like the state of the art custom built like sex doll, and it needs a lot of RAM and processing because it has like all these like crazy ass features, and it has like all these like sensors because like of course you want your sex doll to be able to feel everything and all this stuff. So yeah, he's in this like illegal replicant, like this illegal sex doll replicant, and Lanjan is sort of like, he's like a director of like the kind of like the police. Like they go and look. This is set in cultivation future, so but ghosts, instead of like haunting humans, they now haunt machines. So he's in charge of like finding haunted machines and like getting rid of the ghosts and stuff. So he's like in this warehouse full of all these like illegal replicants, and he finds Wuyong, the sex doll, and he's like, what is your protocol, like what is your ID number? And Wuyong like refuses to answer him, so they get into like this sword fight, like how they met for the first time in like the novels. And then Lanjan fucking realizes like, holy shit, this is a sentient AI, like this is like, it's a fucking miracle, this is the first of its kind, like this is something special, like Wuyong is something special. So Wuyong is like he breaks down from the fight because he's like, this is his first time experiencing a human body and like having feelings, because he was literally just a computer program for like 800 years. So he like passes out, and Lanjan like quickly takes him to a doctor like to like get him saved. And like this entire and like they eventually like live together, but this entire time like Wang is doing like shady ass shit, and like he never explains like what he's doing, but he's like a sentient AI, and like Lanjan loves him, so he like trusts him and doesn't ask any questions. But like there was this pivotal moment where Wei Ying asked Lanjan to register him in order to like sneak him into this party, and registering a robot means to like own them, and Lanjan does not want to own Wei Ying. Like he doesn't want to be his like master. He wants them to be like partners. And so they got into this like huge argument because he's like, I'm not going to register you. I don't want to own you. And they got into this huge fight about it. And he's like, if I bring you to this party, it's gonna be as my date. And Wang is like, everyone's gonna think you're fucking crazy. They think you fell in love with a sex doll, like a robot. Like it's not like a real human. And Lanjan's like, I don't fucking care. Like I'm gonna take you in as my date. I don't care what anyone says. And then at the end of the night, Wang is like, I'm really glad you said no to registering me in like this small voice. And I'm just like, I have a lot of feelings right now. Like, oh my god, that was such a beautiful scene. And like, it's such a good story, you guys. Like that's not even like the tip of the iceberg. Like the entire thing is so well written. There's a lot of smut because he's a sex robot. Like there's a lot of smut.
Excellent.
It's crazy, and
Excellent.
it's really I love this
what
so
I came
much.
here
It's becoming
for.
like my favorite fanfic right now.
Wow.
Like, it's so fucking good. Like it's so fucking good.
I mean,
Okay,
Chu Wanning is dead, and Between Hai Tong and Pear Blossom is still my favorite. They're all by Sentient Wen.
So
Like
good.
I love that writer, so good. So yeah, I get it. When you find like that fanfic,
That's the perfect one.
it just
like,
becomes canon for you.
Yes, I literally am reading paragraphs like the same scenes over and over again because I don't want to leave the scene. Like I'm like reading it so slowly because I don't want to rush through it because I'm like, oh no, when this is over, I'm gonna want more, and there's nothing. And literally, she wrote this recently.
Good.
Like, she wrote this in January of 2023. So
Wow.
like this month.
Just finished.
She wrote this month. Yep.
Wow.
So this is like brand fucking new.
You should
Like,
definitely
there's very
not message, but like write a comment and be like, dude, I love this so much, and
I want
talked
more.
about
I will. After I finish it, I'm
talked
just
about it
gonna
on our
fucking-
podcast.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've been like bookmarking quotes that I like copy paste quotes that I like from the like excerpts, and I like put them into my bookmark comments because I love those. Some of the scenes are so good. Like the way that she writes Lanjan is so beautiful, and like the way that he expresses his love towards Wang in like his subtle ways, because he's really bad at communicating, expressing himself. So he does it through his actions, and it's fucking beautiful, and I love it so much. Like it's so good. It's so
Perfect.
Good. Ah.
That's so good. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yay.
I just started reading it. So I'm up to the part where Wei Ying wakes back up and is chilling with Wen Qing and Yang Li and stuff.
Oh, you're
and the
about to
bunnies.
go right.
And the bunnies.
You're about to. The bunnies are so cute. You have to like manually pet them. They're so cute. Like
Yeah,
all
they're so
the
cute.
robots in this story like are so like thoughtful. Like they're good.
Amazing. Okay, so let's read through some of our Patreon comments because we love it when you guys leave us comments. So thank you so much for people who support us there. Kate Payne says Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Kate Payne.
Happy New Year.
Izzy also says Happy New Year. Thank you for that.
Happy New Year.
And then on chapter 140, like it was episode 28, so it was like way back. Angela Evans says, "Oh my god, I love little Hua. The art of this part in the English release is just so great." Aww.
Yes, little baby 10-year-old Hua Cheng.
Little baby. Yeah, I know. I love the art that they put inside of the published books. If you guys haven't seen it, go buy the book. Go support Seven Seas Entertainment. And then in episode 31, George says, there was a bad dragon table at Hallmat. Only a matter of time until they and the danmei table start working together for Birch. They were literally right next door to each other.
Where
Did you see that?
the double dragon dicks, they were literally next to each other. Like I went from one booth to the other, like immediately, like one after the other. It was great. 10 out of 10,
Hilarious.
basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. And then another thing we'd like to do for our patrons now, we've decided that we want to
Yes.
call people who are
Shout
on
out.
our $20 tier, which like we don't have any like special rewards for. We want to give you guys
This
a
is the
reward.
special thing.
This
We're
is a
adding
special thing
things right now.
We're calling you guys. Well, you're technically the tier is called Sichuan, which means that you're our teacher. So
Master,
yeah,
master,
we're
master.
the disciples. So thank you, Sichuan, for Kita. And then also Kate Payne, who recently hit our $20 tier. Like they decided to up it very recently.
Your tier, awesome.
And then Robert Peterson as well. And then Michael Joseph also is our C-Twin. We've got
Yay, thank you.
4 C-Twins. supporting us.
It's amazing. Thank you for the support. We can't do this podcast without you guys.
Yeah.
It's so great.
At
Thank
some
you.
point, like I said, we're gonna figure out merchandising, but just give us some time.
We are going to get merch. Like literally, we are planning it. Don't worry, it's happening.
Eventually, yes. Yeah,
Yep.
we still have to manage our own lives. Like we got
it's been crazy.
content and stuff to do.
I'm quitting my job in 3 months. So
Yeah. And I'm back-to-back projects, and I'm going to be in Japan for 2 weeks. So, Jenny, we're gonna have to record like a bunch of extra episodes before I go to Japan.
I know. I'm also gonna be going to Korea and Japan in 4 months. So we have to record before that too. It's gonna be crazy.
Fun. All right,
We'll just
guys.
find a weekend that we're free.
I know, just like record like 5 episodes in one go. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and follow us, of course, on Patreon. Even if you don't support us on Patreon, just follow us there because sometimes we'll post cool things like fan fiction recommendations. And what else? I think that's it. Yeah, that was all the end of things. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And as Hua Cheng said, you don't need to be so hard on yourself. Without fear, there is no courage. Yay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
All right. And that is the end of the podcast. So, guys, who are watching on YouTube, that's all. We're going to see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody. Bye.